All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope that you have had a great day so far. Happy Monday. Happy Money Monday, right? Happy Money Monday. Go ahead and share this with someone. Share this on your timeline. Help us to get the word out. Absolutely excited about the information that's going to be shared with us tonight. So go ahead and share this. We are on Facebook on my personal page, Joshua P. Smith, and we're also on YouTube. Okay, so we're on YouTube, Joshua P. Smith over on YouTube. So we're broadcasting simultaneously, getting a little bit more fancier as we are in quarantine and shutting down and learning how to be a little bit more creative. And so I'm excited about that, excited about this information. And so we're not going to waste any time. I want to jump right in to what we have. I kind of want to give everyone um, a little bit of a introduction as to how this all started, because that's going to help you to understand kind of where we're going tonight. I want to start by giving you a prophetic word that I'd given in 2018. So I've given a prophetic word in 2018 about the economy and about what was coming. And I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis of it, a brief snippet of it. And thank you all for sharing. I see you sharing. I see you liking. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to give this brief synopsis, a brief piece of this word, and then we're going to press forward into this information, and I'll bring my guest in. So part of this word, the Lord had given me Haggai 2 and 8. This was 2018. It's June 2018, and this is the actual paper that I wrote part of it on, because we believe in writing down and scribing what the Lord says so we can have record of it for times like these. So I'm giving you the backdrop. Haggai, 2 and 8. It says, "The silver is mine and the gold is mine, saith the Lord of hosts." The Lord began to say in that prophetic moment, He said, "The gold belongs to me, and the people of God, my people, should have it." He said, "I'm about to shake the heavens and I'm about to shake the earth." We didn't know what all that meant, but I just said what the Lord was showing me at that time. I'm about to shake the heavens and the earth. He began to also talk about viral infections at that time. Okay. Here were the instructions of the Lord. He said, "Buy gold, buy stocks, make sure that you have investments." And he said, "Buy land." He said, "I'm making my people stewards over my riches in the earth again." Okay. I'm making my people stewards over my riches in the earth again. He said, "Your economy," again, this was June 2018, "your economy is taking a downturn. You will begin to hear words like recession, words like crash. And he said, "Woe to the prophets that speak peace when there is no peace." Okay. He said to get an urgency about the storehouses. So I had already released the word to our people about storing up water, storing up non-perishable items, like canned goods, things that you can grab quickly, things that store easily. And so they were to start storing food in their house and storing food in the house of the Lord, right? Because Malachi 3 talks about bringing those things into the storehouse so that there would be meat in his house. But I really want you to get what I already said about how the Lord said to us, "Buy gold, okay, buy stocks, invest, buy land," because he is making his people good stewards over the riches of the earth again. And he said, "Your economy is about to take a downturn." Now, this is a scripture, Proverbs 13 and 22, Proverbs 13 and 22, that I've heard in church all of my life. I've been born and raised in church, and I've heard this scripture all of my life. And I used to hear it in a way that made me think that they were two separate scriptures until I started studying it for myself. And you'll see where we're going with this as we press on. It's Proverbs 13:22, English Standard Version. It says, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children." Okay. "But the sinner's wealth is laid up for the righteous." Okay. And we hear that another way, King James, "The wealth of the wicked has been laid up for the righteous." I believe that we're in a time now that we are about to experience one of the greatest wealth transfers that we have ever encountered in history. And that wealth transfer is going back into the hands of God's people. It's coming from the sinners, right? It's coming from the wicked. When God releases a word like that, I often say that when God releases a word, he also releases a strategy with that word. He also releases people that will help us to walk along that path so that we can be prepared and we can be properly positioned in order to make sure that we are in a posture to receive that word. Now, again, I have heard Proverbs 13 and 22 quoted all of my life. I've heard people shout about it, right? You know, we dance about it. It makes for good preaching and still be broke, right? Still not have what the first part talks about. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, not debt. He leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And so, with that in mind, I just wanted to give you the backdrop of what we're talking about tonight. I am not a financial expert, right? I'm not a financial expert. Those of you that know me, those of you that are just being introduced to me, I am a pastor. I am a psychotherapist. I'm a life and business coach and a trainer, right? And so finance is not what I do. I was a licensed life insurance agent in the state of Mississippi, but finance is not my lane. And so I'm committed though to educating and empowering people and make sure that we get everything that we should get. And so for that reason, I brought someone to come alongside me and to give us some information tonight about what we need to know moving forward. And so I want to welcome tonight to the broadcast, and you all help me welcome him, Mr. Derrick Barr. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being on tonight.
Thank you. We appreciate you for what you're doing. That was a mighty word. It's definitely on time word. It's definitely what's needed at this day and time. Once again, my name is Derrick Barr. I'm a licensed financial coach here in Mississippi. I've been in business now since 2014, a broker and owner in the financial industry. My former background, as I used to be in the hospitality industry. But what I saw just over the last 6 years or so, what there's, like Pastor just said, there's a huge transfer of wealth that's getting ready to happen. And even though I was in the hospitality industry, I made a certain amount of income. I initially got into this industry for the money. I'm gonna shoot you real straight. I got in this industry for the money because any town you go into, city, state, metropolis city, the biggest buildings in towns are banks and financial institutions. They make a ton of money. That's why I got into the industry. But once I got into the industry, I saw there was a huge need for not only my people, but God's people to understand how money works. Most of us did not learn how money works in school. We learned how to dissect a pig, we learned how to dissect a frog, but we learned how to write a check, but nobody taught us how to keep the money in the account and leave inheritance from generation to generation. One of my mentors told me a question one time. He said, Derrick, do you know your great, great, great grandfather? I said, no. He said, you know why? Because he ain't leave you nothing.
Wow.
And that hit me so hard because all in the movies you see grandpa, great grandpa Joe, great grandpa Fred left millions and millions of dollars to nieces and nephews, and I didn't have that in my family. So I said, wow, what an incredible hobby to get into. But once I got into it, I found a crusade to help God's people. And man, my objective is to help God's people become more abreast on how the practical things to make it work. And then from there, it just takes the consistency and the discipline to execute the plan. So, man, we're excited to be on tonight.
Wow. Have you all shared this yet? I hope you have shared this. I want to tell you all, we have some things on the agenda that we're about to talk about. So go ahead and share this. Grab a notebook. I promise you there's some information that's about to be given, some practical information that you're going to need about generational wealth. I promise you sound just like my aunt, may she rest in peace, Rosalind Smith, when you begin to talk. She was always talking about breaking the generational curse of poverty in our culture, particularly African American culture, and passing down generational wealth, making sure that people are properly educated about investments, life insurance, the right kinds of life insurance, things of that nature. And so I hear your passion, and I thank you so much in advance for what you're about to share with us. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the stock market. Okay, the stock market. Speaking of Rosalind, and I'm kind of honoring her a bit tonight. on March 9th, I saw this posted and I shared it on my page. And the caption that I posted kind of threw some people off. And I began to get a lot of questions about my caption when I posted this news article. So on March 9th, it said that the Dow, the stock market, was opening with a decline of 1,300 points. Okay, and we begin to see then how the stock market was crashing. It was going down rather, as we started hearing more about coronavirus, COVID-19, and we started learning about how we would have to be eventually sheltering in place and things of that nature, and how our world will never be the same from that. So this was March 9th. And so what I posted, because I literally heard Rob in my ear, because I worked with her, I traveled with her so much and just kind of sat at her feet. Immediately what I heard was stocks are on sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Because when I saw the stock market was going down, I heard, because of my mindset, and I didn't always have this mindset, but I heard stocks are on sale, because she always taught me when the stock market is down, that's when you buy. You buy high, buy low, and
Right.
sell high. And I
Exactly.
never knew that until she started instructing me. And so let's talk about the stock market, because I got a lot of questions about how you get into the stock market. So can we start there? I'll let you take the floor. How does one get into the stock market?
Phenomenal question, Pastor. Phenomenal question. Well, there's several ways you can get into the stock market. Anybody that's on social media right now, of course, with your different investing apps and things like that. There's TD Ameritrade, E-Trade. There's several apps that you can get into and start investing in the stock market. All a stock is, it's just a piece of ownership of a company. That's all it is in very basic terms. Say for instance, but what I normally tell clients to do or people to do is you want to start investing in what you spend money on religiously. If you go to Walmart, if you buying iPhones, well, you're purchasing that product. You just don't have any ownership of that company. And while most people are going out buying Jordans and things like that, why not invest in Michael Jordan or invest in Nike? So ultimately, as people are buying Jordans, you have ownership in that company. So to buy a stock, all it basically means is you're just buying a piece of the company. You can buy fractional pieces, you can buy whole pieces. It just all depends on what the stock is selling for. Uh, to just kind of push a little bit deeper than that, when you said stocks are on sale, I love to explain this in the simplest form what anybody can understand. When you hear people say stocks are on sale, all that means, take that in retrospect, as if Dillard's, McRae's, Macy's, all your favorite department stores said, hey, everybody, everything in the store is 95% off. Well, what if everybody gonna do? They gonna jump off of Facebook, get in their car, even in the coronavirus, and go down to the mall if they could. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can buy a lot of product with a little bit less money. That's all that means. If a stock is selling at $100 at one time, and now it's on sale at $20, so for that same 100, how many stocks are you getting? You're getting 5 stocks. That's all that means. You find the price of the stock. It's public information. You can go on Yahoo Finance. You can even Google it and find your favorite company and find out what that stock is selling at. So whatever money you put into it, that's how many stocks you're actually going to get it. So all the way around, how to get into it, there's several ways. You can get into it with the apps, or you can go to broker dealers where you actually have an advisor to hold your hand and teach you as well. That's how you get to the market.
Wow. Wow. That was pretty simple, but pretty powerful. So I hope everyone got that. My next question was going to be, what stocks do I start off with? Earlier before we got on, we were doing the test. You and I were talking about Facebook. And let's go all the way back before we get to Facebook. Let's talk about Popeyes. Let's talk about Popeyes. See, this is a paradigm shift. It's a mindset shift. And I'm not talking down on people who were going after the chicken sandwich and all of that. I'm just talking about a different type of mindset. So please don't think I'm being condescending. And those that know me know that I'm not. But for those that don't know me, I'm not being condescending when I'm saying this. But when I started seeing people running to get the chicken sandwich, which I still haven't tasted yet, right? I don't plan on to really. But when I started seeing people running, I was trying to see if Popeyes was a publicly traded company so I can get stock because apparently something is going on at Popeyes and I need to own a part of it. Right, I need to
Exactly.
have a share of that, and I haven't found. Maybe it is, and I just need an advisor for that. I didn't find that Popeyes was publicly traded, so I don't think it is. But that's kind of the mindset to even help people make an even greater connection with that. Friday, Mark Zuckerberg announced some changes that were coming to Facebook, and people have
Mhm.
somewhat seen that now. With he's basically coming into competition with Zoom. I said Friday that please don't think that Mark Zuckerberg and the Facebook team is going to be out Zoomed, right? They're staying on
Mhm.
the cutting edge. They're trying to keep their
Right.
place in line, their place
Mhm.
in the market. And so I got an email notification from Robinhood, which is one of the apps that I use. I got an email notification that said Zoom stock had plunged 12%.
Mhm.
Okay.
Wow.
So their stock plunged 12% because Facebook is now pushing something that is going to make them, I believe, to be more profitable in that space of buying and selling. Does that kind of line up to what you're talking about as well?
Exactly. 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 And when you watch these trends in the market, you have to always think about everything in a different sector is competitive. So when Zoom came out with all this new technology and all these different companies came out and just jumped on Zoom, just like you said, to what you said, Facebook's not going to sit back there and just let them take everything, become a monopoly. So they're
Mm-hmm.
going to start making some innovations and some changes to try to be competitive as well. And one of the changes that they can do is well, not change, but one of the things that they're going to do is they already have millions of subscribers. So what's going to happen is potentially can be a split in the market. What that basically means, you got all these companies that's using Zoom, but then you got millions of people that's still on Facebook. So it's going to be very, very competitive. It's going to be very, very competitive to see what happens. Um, the fact that Zoom tanked a little bit, I wouldn't worry about that too much because it's just the fact of something new, just something new, just like a new album come out. You can just Mac Reynolds could drop a new album, but John P. Key drop that one next week, and you just want to
Yeah.
hear John P. Key album, even though Mac Reynolds album is still popping. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? It's
Right.
just something new. But I would definitely watch those trends. And if like I said, if you're not a Zoom user and you are a Facebook user religiously, you may want to look at that. There's not a recommendation, but you may want to take a look at that or talk to your advisor about it. Exactly, Pastor. Exactly.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. So please talk to your advisor about that. So people can. We're just giving some general knowledge. Just want to
Hmm.
put that disclaimer out there. We're doing general knowledge just to help you, shift your mind a little bit. But please find a
Hmm.
financial advisor. You also mentioned those apps, which I was going to ask about.
Hmm.
The Robinhood app,
Hmm.
okay, and you also said TD Ameritrade
Hmm.
and
TD Ameritrade, E-Trade,
E Trade.
um, E-Trade is out there, and I've even noticed most people use Cash App. I've even noticed Cash App
Mm-hmm.
has a little section inside of their app where you can buy fractional shares and things like that.
Yeah.
So you explore that as well. Mhm.
So you mean Cash App is not just for asking for money, begging for money for people? Is that
It's not just
okay?
it's not just for posting your handle on it.
I just have to get one petty moment in for the night. Okay, so I'm I'm done. Okay, so Cash App, you can trade with that. I'm typing some of these in the comment section. You said E Trade, Robinhood. That's one that I use. Um, okay,
TD
so I'm making sure
Ameritrade.
that
Mhm.
TD Ameritrade. Okay,
Mhm.
and they can go to Yahoo Finance, which I've done before, to look at the price of the stock. and you see how many shares you can get based on that price.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to investments. Investments.
Okay.
So my question out of the investment section is: should I still be, or should we still be investing in this time?
Well, my rule of thumb is, and I'm going to talk to the audience as if I was advising the audience. Um, I will be careful with it, investing if I am not out of debt. And let me share why. Your most powerful wealth building tool is your income, whatever you bring it in every month. So if that's pulled in so many different directions, it's hard for your money to work for you.
Wow.
Well, if you got a lot of debt and you got $100 going here, $100 going at this bill, this bill, this bill, this bill, well, you're not able to invest adequately. So, say for instance, Google came down, Google sharing at like $2,000 a share, something like that, something ridiculous like that. What if it came down to $100 a share? You can only invest $25 a month because you're in debt. You know what I'm saying? So my recommendation is you should be focusing on getting out of debt first. Okay. Why? Because you'll have more discretionary income to do other things with. Bless the house of God. Invest more, diversify, invest in more than one type of stock. But if you're just tied down and all of your money is going to bills, then that's a very risky way of investing. Because what happens if your income stops, like we got going on right now? Well, your debt's still there and you still can't invest. You see, that makes sense?
Yes.
But if you're debt free and you got money saved and you invest, you still, even though your income is gone, it still puts you in a pretty powerful position. So the first thing you should do, in my humble opinion, you should definitely be getting out of debt. But of course, we're humans. Everybody's not going to do that because we are greedy as humans. Let's just keep it real. We're greedy and we want to
Yes.
take advantage of what's going on. So if you are going to start investing, once again, seek wise counsel on that and just find something that's in your lane. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your recommendation sounds like is to get out of debt first.
Absolutely.
Get out of debt before you start
100%.
investing.
100%. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how much should people be saving right now? Because even though people may be in debt, do you recommend that they still continue to save money? And if so, how much should they be saving, especially in times like these?
Wow. Great question. Great question. Well, first of all, you should be paying yourself first, family. Pay yourself first. Before you pay any bill, you need to be paying yourself first. Why? Because you always gonna have bills the rest of your life. Pay God first.
Amen.
Pay God first so you can be blessed, and then you pay yourself. Okay, even if it's nothing but $25 a month, guys. Listen, you understand what that'll do to your psyche, does to your mentality. Once you see yourself, even if you're doing $20 a month, $25 a month out of each check, what's gonna happen is you're gonna start getting more powerful. So start messing with your psyche a little bit. Wow, if I can start saving $25 a month, I can save $100. All I got to do is cut that Starbucks out. Now you cut your
That part.
Starbucks out. Now you got $100 a month. Okay, well, daggone. Now I got $100 a month. All I got to do is cut the cable package down to the basic package. Now I got $200 a month.
Not the
And what
cable.
happens? You see what I'm saying? But what happens is, for the right type of person that think in the right way, what that does is you start having you forward thinking. You start thinking forward and for the future. And that's what gets you right back into that leave an inheritance type of mentality. That makes sense?
It
So
does. So
you
this
can
is the mentality.
always start. You can always start. If you don't start with nothing but $20 out of each check, start with that. Put it on your mattress, give it to somebody who's accountable that's not going to let you spend it, and say, when I get X amount, and I've literally got clients like this because they put it in the bank, they're going to spend it.
Especially if it has a debit attached to it.
Exactly. Like, if you pastor's accountability friend, I promise you, if you tell him not to let you spend it, he probably won't let you spend it. Oh man,
So pay yourself, well, pay God and yourself first,
absolutely,
and then get yourself out of debt so that you can have money to invest. Good. All right.
exactly,
And so if
exactly.
y'all can hold your questions, we're going to do a Q&A section coming right up. So if you have questions, I did see one come in, but hold your questions and we're going to come back to the questions. I know you have a lot of them. All right. So speaking of investments, 401k. So
Mhm.
people are going mad almost about their 401k. Do you have any type of advisement, any type of wisdom that you can share with people about the current status of 401k?
Yes, absolutely. It's scary times. It's really, really scary times right now. Unfortunately, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things are out of our control and even your company's control. First of all, let's define
Mm-hmm.
a 401k. That's just a way for you to put back money. And in most cases, the employer matches what you put in or percentage of it or something like that. Okay. But most of the time when you start a 401k at a job, they give you a little paperwork and just say, hey, check this box, check this box, check this box, whatever you want to invest your money in. Well, most people are gonna say, well, John, what are you checking? Well, Mary, what are you checking? Because nobody
Right.
knows.
Right.
And the HR person not gonna say nothing because they don't want to be if something happens and you lose everything, they don't want to be liable for it. So they just say,
Correct.
check this box, check this box, check this box. So most people are gonna check what? Not risky.
Yes. Yes.
And they've been putting money in this account, this 401k account, for years, and it's not doing anything. Okay. So to kind of piggyback off what I just said about the 401ks, it's an extremely scary time right now. But your company, the only way you can touch that money is if you leave the company. You can go to your HR director or your HR person and change some allocations, and once again seek wise counsel on that. Your HR person has a list of accounts, different type of investments that you can invest in. Seek
Yep.
wise counsel on that, and have them say, "Hey, these are the funds that my employer are offering. What do I need to be doing at my age and based off my goals?" And that advisor can help you with that.
Say that again. What do I need to be doing? That's the question you need to ask your advisor.
Hmm.
Excuse
Hmm.
me. What do I need to be doing based on my age and based on my goals? Because every time I would get paperwork like that, I would take it to Rosalind and I would ask her, okay, what do I do with this? Because they won't tell you
Hmm.
what to check, right? And then everyone else begins
Exactly.
to talk in those meetings, and your former or your fellow, excuse me, coworkers begin to talk and chat about what they would do, or either how much they're
Hmm.
confused as you are, and so it's kind of the blind leading the blind. So I had enough sense
Exactly.
to check that kind of stuff to Rosalind and ask her, okay, what do I need to check? And she would ask the same things that you would ask. Can you drill in on that a little bit more? What your age is, and what your
Hmm.
goals are, because she would ask me, how old do you want to be when you retire from this job?
Exactly. 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 And family, let's remember, even though the age of retirement is 67 and they're trying to make it at 69, you
Yes.
can retire whenever you have enough money saved.
Say it again. Say it again.
You can retire tomorrow if you got enough money saved. You don't have to go to 67, 69. And what's happening, theoretically, what they're hoping is happening is they keep stretching it farther and farther and farther. Most people start to die off.
Boom.
And now you got all these big 401k accounts that the company can use and now use as assets.
Yep.
So what you want to do is you want to find out what your goals is. Ask yourself the question, when would I like to shut it down? If I can shut it down tomorrow, or what age would I want to shut it down? And just ask yourself that question. You ask your advisor, and he or she will be able to tell you, okay, you need to be upping your exemptions. You need to be putting more in. You need to be doing this. And they can put you on a game plan to help you meet that goal. Most people fail because they don't have a plan.
Wow.
Even if you're at the job still, you can have a plan. You just have to get around the right people that can help give you the right direction. Exactly.
That's
Hmm.
so good. Proverbs 11 and 14. There is safety in a multitude of counsel. I keep hearing you use that word. Get with your advisor. Get with
Hmm.
somebody that knows about this stuff, because it's
Hmm.
no longer an excuse for us to just walk around blindly, and then getting to that age, getting to a higher age, waiting to retire. When you just said it, I think you just liberated a lot of people. And I put it in the comments on Facebook. I said you can retire when you want. You can retire when you have enough money to live
Hmm.
comfortably, to live the way that you want to live. And I don't think many people are aware of that, because I still hear people say, well, I can't wait until I'm 67, 68 to
Hmm.
retire. And
Right.
I just don't believe that the system should be able to dictate to us. I'm talking about kingdom people. I don't believe the
Right.
system should be able to dictate to us,
Come on,
when
man.
we want to retire. I just don't feel that way.
Exactly.
Not in the earth is the
Exactly.
Lord, the fullness thereof. I know that's
That's right.
being maybe deep and churchy for people, but these are principles, right? These are
Exactly.
principles of planning and
Hmm.
preparation, even writing the vision and making it plain. Where there is no vision, the people perish, they run wild, even getting that multitude of counsel. So thank you for saying that.
Hmm. Yes, sir.
All
Pastor,
right.
may I
Yes,
add a little something real quick? We got
right
to
ahead.
remember, guys, we got to remember, family, Jesus wasn't broke.
Huh.
Okay. He had a treasurer with him everywhere he went. So he
Shanda.
has laid out all these principles that we must follow. But what happens is it's the discipline and the consistency that kills us, especially us, kingdom people, because
Yeah.
we like to have fun. We like to enjoy everything. We want to splurge. We want to have a good time. We want to show off. We want to look. We want to be the sharpest thing at the church.
And the church ain't even open, so you can't show off no more. Put that money back for that new hat for Mother's Day, because we closed,
That's
right? So
right.
put that Mother's Day hat money in your mattress.
That's
Put it
right. That's
away
right.
and pay down
Mhm.
some bills. That's really
Yes,
good.
sir.
Discipline
Yes, sir.
and consistency. Well, those are two words you use, right? Discipline and consistency.
Absolutely. Discipline and consistency is the key. Hmm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love it. All right. And Jesus wasn't broke. Let's remember that. All right, our last section, and then we're going to open up for questions and answers. Thank you all so much for engaging in the comment section. Thank you all for sharing this video, for doing watch parties. I see you. I appreciate you. I hope that you're getting this wisdom, and all of you're getting understanding.
Amen.
All right, let's move to our next section, and then we'll go to Q&A. The last section is life insurance. Okay,
Hmm.
life insurance. What type of life insurance is best?
Well, I'm a little biased
I know you are. That's
on that question, but
so am I.
to just I'm a little biased on that question. I'll answer it like this: all your consumer advocates, all your Dave Ramsey's, your Susie Ormans, all your big money gurus, will tell you to buy term insurance. And let me give you a real brief 101 explanation of how that works. There's two types of insurances out there that you can purchase. There's only two. There's one called whole life, and there's one called term insurance. Now, whole life is only one kind, but they have a bunch of different names for it. Whole life, variable life, universal life,
Universal.
steal your wife, stab you in the back with a knife. But it's all has the same premise. It all does the same thing. They'll tell you you're purchasing life insurance and you have a savings account attached to it. Okay. Now, in theory, it sounds amazing. In theory, it says you're going to buy 100,000 life insurance, and when you retire, you should have 100,000 in cash value or a savings account attached to it. Well, it never works like that. None of them work like that. Mathematically, they never ever work like that. Okay. What happens is you pay for two things, but you only get one. Okay. Would you ever
Wow.
put money in an account when you go and get it out, you got to borrow it or pay interest on your own daggone money? That doesn't make sense. But
Stop.
any
Stop. Stop right there. Stop right there. That part. That part is the misconception because people will say, I have this life insurance policy and I can get a loan on it or I can borrow money on it. And they don't realize what you just said, that you're paying interest to borrow your own money. Is that what you just
That's
said?
that's exactly how it works, Pastor. And
Okay.
if I'm at liberty to say this, it's
You got
sold
to live to say what
more
you want.
in the it's sold more in the minority community, in the African American community, because we always that's just the way it's always been done, because we're just ignorant to how insurance works. And ignorant means just you just don't know. That's all that means. Okay. So that's why, family, you see grandmother had a $5,000 policy for 30 years. She passed away and it still ain't worth nothing. And you see the little guy come and collect every single month. You see what I'm saying? That's what you call a whole life insurance policy. It
But you're going to be paying
mathematically
for your
never.
whole life.
And you see what I just said? It's a whole. What Pastor said, it's a whole life. If you live to be 100, they want you paying on it for 100 years. Well, who makes all that commission? The agent. Who makes all that money? The company. So all your consumer advocates tell you to purchase what we call term insurance. Insurance that's good for a term, a specific time. Usually while your kids are young and you have a lot of responsibility financially. Dad's making 50,000 a year. Mom's making 50,000 a year. Together they're making living off 100. Dad gets killed. They got $100,000 worth of bills, but now they only got $50,000 worth of income. What in the world is $20,000 whole life policy gonna do?
Nothing.
You got to bury dad. The kids still got to eat. The house still got to be paid. All the household bills got to be paid, and you got a little measly policy at the job. And I say this in my seminars, and I've actually seen this in my you see my eyes, they big, right? I've seen this. Most widows at a funeral, when everybody walking around. Now this is gonna be tug on your heart a little bit now, but it'll work. When you see people going around there, mom got to look at whoever ain't got a ring on. Why
Wow.
dad in that casket? Why? Because dad was so focused on the daggum NFL package and the NBA package and the daggum 26s on the truck that he ain't got a daggum $50 life insurance policy. And mom got to go out here and fend for herself. Now she got to answer Jody's phone call.
Wow.
I'm not playing tonight. We got to help people. We got to teach. That's what we got to do. We got to stop. The word said a wise man leaving an inheritance for his children's children. That's the word. God's giving us these principles, but we ain't listening. And that's how you do it. You got insurance was made to create an instant estate in case the breadwinner passed away.
Wow.
If I don't
Instant
make it,
estate.
if I don't, an instant estate. I tell my wife all the time, listen, if we fall on hard times, let the car go, let the cable go, you let everything go, but don't you let that insurance go, because that's a guaranteed check at some point. And ain't no sense of us playing around. If something happened to you, no, we all gonna die sometime. Let's
Yes.
stop playing with that. And let's prepare our families so they can be prepared financially.
Wow.
That makes sense?
Wow. That makes plenty of sense. Y'all let me know in the comment section if that makes sense to you. Please let me know if that made sense to you. Please let me know if that made sense to you. I hope it did. So I noticed that you said, and it's going to lead into my next question about life insurance. Um, because as you said, we're all leaving, and if something has got a lapse, it can't be the life insurance. Okay.
Right.
And so one of the things that I was being taught again by Rosalind and by the company that she was a part of is to buy term and invest the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how she trained me. But how much insurance should people buy? Because you mentioned something about $50. I know how much insurance I have, and I ain't telling nobody. Um, and I know who my beneficiaries are, and they don't know how much insurance I have either. But I know how much I have, and I don't pay $50 for it. It is
Mm-hmm.
term, and
Mm-hmm.
so it is what I would say, because I'm just gonna say it. It's the right type of insurance. It's the type of insurance that makes sense to me, because I don't
Exactly.
want to be paying on insurance my whole life, right? And
Exactly.
so
Mm-hmm.
I know what kind of insurance I have. I know how much it is. It's a pretty good amount, and I don't pay $50. Now, someone
Mm-hmm.
that has a family, because I know that if you have more responsibilities, then you get more coverage, right?
Exactly.
Because, like you said, if the father dies and he was making 50,000, the mother was making 50,000. I don't think people caught that. If the father dies, then that means $50,000 is coming out of that home now,
Exactly.
right? And so wife and kids are now having to live on $50,000. And so if the father only
Mm-hmm.
had $20,000, and please don't tell people we used to do. I used to go on these calls and these visits, rather, with Rosalind. People will say, "Well, I got life insurance on my job."
No,
When
sir.
you leave your job,
It's
you
gone.
leave that life insurance,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you need
Mm-hmm.
life insurance of your own, life insurance that you purchase. And even if you pass away and you own that job, that could be a good addition. But you need life insurance
Mm-hmm.
of your own. So wherever you go and however you move, if you get sick and you can't work, you still have
Mm-hmm.
life insurance that you have bought, right? And so I said all that to
Exactly.
ask the question: how much do you recommend that people should get?
Well, it's recommended. The basic rule of thumb is 8 to 10 times your income. Okay, that's a good rule of thumb. When I normally sit down with clients, I will go by what you call the DIME method, the DIME, and you can do this yourself, guys. You can do this at home. So when you go and see your insurance agent or somebody recommend, you can say, "Hey, this is what I need." So DIME stands for D stands for debt, your I stands for income, the M stands for mortgage, and your E stands for education. So basically, God forbid if something happened to dad, how much debt do you need to pay off? How much income needs to continue to come into the house? How much does it pay to cost the house to pay the house off? How many kids do you have, and do you want to fund their education, or do you want them to get student loans? That's how I see it. Okay, so when you add all of that up, in most cases, if somebody's making $50,000 a year, it's probably going to say they need on the low end 300,000, or on the high end probably about 500,000. So in between there, you just find out what your budget. There's if you got a good agent that knows how to take the heart of a teacher and teach you, he or
Not
she
to sell
knows
you.
how. Not to sell you, to teach you so you can understand. Not just sell you, teach you. The heart of a teacher that can teach you how this stuff works, so that God forbid a dad or mom pass away, everybody know what the plan is. I can't keep stressing the plan, the plan, the plan. You have to have a plan. That makes sense? So
Yes.
on an easy scale, 8 to 10 times your income. Okay. And a more specific way, dime, debt, income, mortgage, education for the kids. Because, God forbid, if something happened, you want the kids to be able to go on to school and get a good education as well. So,
Right.
and leave income coming in for the house. That's a good rule of thumb. Mm-hmm.
Very good. So, like he already said, that life insurance gives you an instant estate, right? It gives you an instant estate. It gives you an inheritance to leave behind for your children's children. And I know that we don't like to talk like this, but especially in times like these, like we're all coming into the realization that we are mortal, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that one day
Yes, sir.
we're leaving here, sometimes not always the time that we plan. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's good to be able to, as you keep saying, to be able to plan for this and have an estate plan already in place. And so that your
Mm-hmm.
family isn't left looking crazy and selling fish plates and T-shirts on the side of the road when it's your time to go.
Amen.
Okay. So let's make sure that we get with someone that can not just sell insurance, not just be a good
Mm-hmm.
salesman, because as you said, that's what was happening in our communities
Mm-hmm.
traditionally for years. You had salesmen, and I remember, salesmen coming by and those little brown envelopes, right? The
Yeah.
insurance man. Most of that was whole life, right? That's selling insurance, but our people weren't being
Uh-huh.
educated, right? They weren't being
Exactly.
educated on what kind of life insurance, how much do
Hmm.
I need, and so
Right.
those type of things are very important. So please remember the dime, the dime. Okay, let's do it again.
Hmm.
Is debt, how much income you're replacing,
Hmm.
mortgage, how much is it going to take to pay off your mortgage, and
Hmm.
education. Right.
Exactly.
One thing that I've seen, especially when I was working with Rosalind, is that the family is already mourning. The family is already grieving. And so when you
Hmm.
put, and as a counselor, I can speak to this, okay? You don't want to put the financial burden
My God.
on top of the emotional grief. You don't want to put
My
the
God.
financial burden on top of the grieving, the
Hmm.
physical passing of that
Hmm.
individual. And so,
Right.
even though people aren't, no one's excited about death, you can handle it. I don't want to sound sadistic, but you can handle it a little bit better when you
Hmm.
don't have to worry after this is over. Like you say, watching Who Got a Ring On. Like you know that things are
Right.
good, and you can grieve
Hmm.
in peace, if I can say it that way.
Hmm.
So let's
Right.
work on leaving an inheritance for our children's children
Hmm.
and having a plan, taking care of our families, covering one another. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Anything
Exactly.
else you want to add to that?
Oh, that's great. That's great. This is some good stuff,
Okay.
man. I hope people are really receiving. Hmm.
Yes, they are. They are. The comments are good. The numbers are good. Very good. All right. So, if we don't have anything else, we are to our Q&A section. Let's look at our time. Okay. I wanted to go to 7:30. We have about 10 or 11 minutes. So
Okay.
let's get some questions. If you all have some questions, I know that earlier someone had asked about penny stocks. Okay, so can you speak to that? It said just what about penny stocks?
Penny stocks, penny stocks, penny stocks. It's almost like junk stocks. That's what we call it in the industry. It's just a lot of low level companies, no name, no branding. It's just like you would find a penny on the ground when you walk outside. You almost kind of look over it, but some people pick them up, you know.
Mm.
I know I pick them up because you pick 100 of them up, you got $1, right?
There
And
you go.
that's how most people look at penny stocks, and that's really what it is. But they're extremely risky. But there's always that 1 in a million chance that one penny stock will be the next cricket or something. It's not as big as AT&T and
Mm-hmm.
T and C Spot, but it may be the next cricket or the next what's the other Boost Mobile or something.
This moment
You know what I'm
makes sense.
saying? So that makes sense. It's kind of, well, I ain't gonna say going to the casino, y'all might not be in the casino, but it's just
They ain't going right now. We know that much.
we ain't going right now, right? But that's how it is, jokingly. That's kind of how it is. You just almost kind of like, I got $100. I'll just buy 1,000 companies and just see what happens. And so, I mean, if you just got the discretionary income and you just want to play with it like that, but 9 times out of 10, I ain't gonna say you're throwing your money away. It's just a higher gamble. The probability of something good happening out of it, most people use it just out of arrogance, just something to do. You know what I'm saying? But once again, there's always that 1 in a million chance that one company may turn out to be something. Hmm.
Okay, so
Hmm.
it's just more of a gamble with the penny
Just,
stocks.
just, just some extremely sophisticated stuff. Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you have debt, dare I venture to say you don't have the money for penny stocks. Like you need to save those
Put,
pennies for for your debt, right?
put that $100 on the bill and knock your interest rate down. That's what you do with
There you
that.
go. Okay, good explanation. Thank you. So we have another question from Nikki Killen, a classmate. She said, "What is the minimum amount of shares that you recommend buying?"
It all depends. Don't look at shares. Look at what can you consistently invest.
Mm,
Because if you what you can consistently invest, that's what you need to look at. You need to look at your budget and see what can you consistently do. Okay, because once again, this is not no just put $2 or $3 in it and just flip flop around. No, if you got to have a strategy, you got to have a plan about this stuff. Okay, so don't look at shares because you may want to get this stock over here and you can't afford the shares. So you need to find out, once again, let's go back to the beginning. Find the products and the companies that you use the most. Okay. You go to Walmart a lot, look into that. You go to Target a lot, look into that. If you got an iPhone, look into that. You see what I'm saying? Things like that. Find out what you can consistently do and look at it from there. Okay. And just look at what's going to give you your best bang for your buck. If you can only do $100 a month, okay, let's see what my $100 can buy in the stock market every month. That's how you want to look at that. And once again, seek wise counsel on that, and they can help you find out a good strategy on that. Hope that answers your question.
So have a budget going in, so you know how much you can spend.
Right. Because otherwise, you'll just get in and you'll say, okay, well, I'm gonna just throw something in. The next thing you know, like we were saying earlier, Facebook jumping out. Then you want to jump over there. Now you're just jumping all over the place with no strategy, no plan. And we all know what no strategy, no plan ends up. It ends up a travesty. So you got to have a plan, have a sense of direction, and just look at your plan as your GPS. What do you want this to do? What do you want this to go? What do you want to end up with this investment? And if you don't have a plan, it's going to take a long time to get there.
That's good. If you don't have a plan, it's going to take a long time to get there. All right. She says, thank you. That makes sense. Next question. If you have purchased an existing whole life policy when you were younger, should you also purchase a term?
If you said what now? If you have a whole life policy?
Yeah, she's saying if you purchased a whole life policy when you were younger, I guess with this information that we're getting tonight, should they also purchase a term?
Yes, absolutely. Because in the long run, you're going to lose out on the whole life policy. 100% of the time, you're going to lose out on. And any person, watch this now, any person that tells you anything different, 9,999,000% of the time, they're an agent. Okay? If anybody tell you anything different than what I'm saying, see if they're an agent. Okay? So, yes, especially if you have other people dependent on your income, especially if you're grossly underinsured. Okay.
Yeah.
So you need to look at, if you're still relatively young or in the mid age and in reasonably good health, because you can't just buy insurance, you have to qualify for it. Let's throw that in there. You have to be able to qualify for life insurance. Okay. You can't just buy it. You got to be able to qualify for it. So if you're in a good age, reasonably good health, see if you can get you qualified for your good 20-year level term insurance policy. Get the new insurance in place first. Never cancel a policy until you can get the new one in place. Why I say that, Derrick? Okay, now you go and apply for this term, and you already cancel your other stuff, and they don't approve you for whatever reason. Boom, now you're without insurance.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So never cancel a policy. You have the new one in place. Okay, once you have the new one in place, you may or may not have cash value into it, all that and stuff, but the agent will be able to help you get all that stuff out of there. But once again, seek wise counsel on that as well. But always buy term insurance, and that money that you're saving, you should invest that. Invest it. And that could be your money that you start investing with right there.
Yeah, absolutely. You said something that I want to ask a question about. And there's another question that I see in here. But you mentioned just now about qualifying for life insurance, based on health reasons and such. I kind of heard something in the wind, and maybe you can clear this up for me, with like what we're experiencing right now, with a lot of people passing, a lot of health concerns going on right now. How is the insurance industry, because I'm not active in the industry right now. So how is the industry as it relates to giving out new policies in a time like this?
Man, it's extremely volatile. A lot of companies have ceased taking new applications. I'm not sure.
Wow.
There's an article on Forbes, Google Forbes life insurance COVID-19. It's about 2 to 3 weeks ago. They put an article where tons of insurance companies not even it's just too high a risk to take on a new application. A person have been diagnosed or exposed to COVID-19, and they don't know if you're telling the truth on this application or not. So a lot of companies have suspended taking new applications, and that's really scary because now you got the guy that been procrastinating. Well, let me think about it, pray about it, and now you need it, and you can't get it. Or the guy that you've been procrastinating. Oh, I got it on the job. Now you furloughed, ain't got it no more, and
Right.
now you want to get it, and you can't qualify medically. You see what I'm saying? You got diabetes now. You had a heart problem. Anything can happen. So you gotta man. I can't stress this enough. Please get with your advisor, man. Get this stuff in place. We plan a daggum trip more than we plan our finances. Now, how backward is that? We're planning a trip to go to Disney next year, and every single month, put that $100 a month back. We're gonna stay
Yep.
here. We got 5 bedrooms. We're gonna get this van. You gonna drive this leg. You gonna drive it. We're planning a daggone trip more than we plan our finances. And that's the truth.
Wow.
And it's sad. We got to get about our business financially. We can close this gap in a lifetime if we start doing it right ourselves, our age group, our 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, and start teaching to our babies. So by the time they are age, we'd have caught up with that wealth gap that everybody's talking about. That makes sense?
Yeah, makes sense. So people that are progressed in age or have health problems shouldn't be touching insurance right now, maybe. If they already have
Well,
it.
they can always try and qualify, but different companies have different qualification. They may accept
Okay.
it, they may not. So you can always try. You can always try.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So another person has asked, should you have less insurance once children are out of school and you don't have debt? I guess a yes to that. If so, what's the average amount you should have? That's the
life
second part of that
insurance
question.
again?
Yeah, if they are, if they, so they asked first about less life insurance, and I said absolutely. But the children are out of school, they don't have any debt. So their follow-up question to that is how much, like an average amount of what they need, if that's their position right now.
Well, my personal opinion, I always teach my clients, you don't want to look at it like profiting off your child if something happened to the child. So you just want to get enough that God forbid if something happened, you could put them away nicely because you're not dependent on their income. They're dependent on your income. Make sense? So, a good rule of thumb, 10,000, 15,000. Some companies will let you get up to 50. It just all depends on where you stand in that with me. With me personally, my rule of thumb is, hey, 10, 15,000, something happened to the child, God forbid. You can put them away nicely. Worst thing you don't want to do is have to go get a loan and pay that loan back every month because you was irresponsible in getting coverage on kids. Like, I don't understand why parents say that. Well, I think I'm jinxing my child if I get insurance. No, you're being responsible. Stuff happen to children. They reckless out here. They in college. They doing all kind of crap. Because I was a college student. I was doing it. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to be prepared. It's a plan. That's all it is.
Right. And that's really good. But I think they were also speaking about themselves. Like if their children are out of the house and they personally don't have any debt as a parent, how much should they have on themselves?
Okay.
And that's good. That's why I let you continue with that, because if you have children, you should definitely have, like you said, at least 15,000, 10 to 15,000, 20 on them to cover them. But I think their position is they are out. They have children that are not out of the house. As a parent, they don't have as much debt or any debt. So how much should they have on themselves as a parent?
Once again, do the dime. Okay. If you don't have a lot of debt, but do you still have a mortgage? Okay, if you don't have a mortgage, you can scratch that off. Okay, how much debt do you have? Do you have 5,000, 10,000 of it? That may drop that coverage amount down. Okay, do you have anybody else depending on your income? Is it just you and a husband now? Are you single? So many different variations of that. Let's just say, for instance, you're a single mom and the kids out the house. Okay, well, and you have your mortgage paid off and your debts paid off. Well, you may just want to do something small for final expenses, or to leave a legacy for your last name. It's just all different type of things you can do, and that's really important. Leaving a legacy for your last name.
Your last
Okay.
name.
Well, exactly. What if you don't have kids? Exactly.
Yeah. I cut you off. You said, "What if you don't have kids?" And go ahead.
Well, what if you don't have kids? I have this one particular client that don't have kids. She don't have anything to leave for them, but she leaving it for her nieces and nephews. You know what I'm saying? Or setting up a trust for kids that write an essay to go to college or something. It's all different type of things you can do.
Yeah.
It's just whatever's important to you in your heart.
Yeah, a trust. I love this because this is how wealthy people talk. This is how people of, we'll just say, other persuasions transfer wealth generationally from one generation to the other generation. They teach their children about how to save and invest money. They teach their children the rule of money, and they also practice it. And even if they don't have children, they leave, like you said, a legacy for their last name. And so money just gets transferred from generation to generation, as they say, old money. Somebody just put in the comment section, trust and scholarship funds, niece and nephews. So this is a mindset, because I truly believe, like we talked about earlier, let's kind of end where we started, talking about the wealth transfer that's getting ready to happen. And so that is happening. I believe it is happening now. And so we have to be in place. We have to be in position. We have to have the tools and the strategies that we need, the plan that we need, and the mindset that we need to be able to not just get wealth, but to keep wealth, and also to pass it on generationally. And so again, the word of the Lord came to us in 2018. Buy stocks, buy gold, buy land, invest, because we need to have something to be able to contain what the Lord is getting ready to pour out. So we thank you so much. I thank you for coming on. Give us some last words, including how people can get in touch with you. You talked about advisement. So are you just advising people? You have your company, I know it's here in Mississippi. Are you just touching people in Mississippi? Like, how all can people reach out to you personally?
Great. Well, I enjoyed this conversation. We call it a money conversation. Money conversations. We love money conversations because they bless everybody. We have a money conversation. I can be reached on Facebook, Derrick Barr, obviously, Instagram, Derrick D. Barr, or you can just reach me on my cell number. My cell number is 601-344-8569. Again, that's 601-344-8569. I have license here in Mississippi, Georgia, and Louisiana. And so we can help service clients in those areas. If you live outside of those areas, we can certainly help service you. I can connect you with the right people, but I will only connect you with the people that's going to do right. They have the heart of a teacher, that I will have somebody teach, do my family. And so, so if you're in one of those areas, reach out. We'd love to even if you just have more questions. If you like literature, if it's okay with Pastor, you can leave your email down there. We can send out I got some How Money Works books. It's free of charge. We just get those to clients. But I don't just want to give it to somebody that's gonna put a pot plant on top of it or something now. Pay it forward.
So how do you want to do that? How do you want people to reach out to get those books if they want? I think you mentioned something about email.
You can email me at the Barr Agency, TheBarr Agency, AGENCY, at yahoo.com. The Barr Agency and at yahoo.com, and I'll get my staff to send one out to you. And all I ask you to do is read it. Phenomenal information inside, basic rules of money that you can really bless and learn from, and go to the next level financially. Once again, that's my information. Once again, my cell number 601-344-8569. If you have any questions, we'd definitely love to share with you.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I hope you all got that. I put some of it in the comment section, and I know other people were commenting as well. Everyone is saying thank you for the nuggets. Dragon Senegal says this was an awesome, outstanding discussion. Ms. Pugh said awesome session. Pamela Everett says wonderful. And so you can
Awesome.
go back. I'm sure you will and read these comments. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for getting the word out. Like I said, I believe that this is the time of the wealth transfer, and my heart's desire is that people be educated and empowered. And so, thank you again, Mr. Derrick Barr.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
for your time. Thank you for
Yes,
your
sir.
expertise. And if people want to reach out to you, they can go again to the bar agency at yahoo.com. He's also here on Facebook. He is a trusted advisor. If he can't help you in one of those states, like he said, he will help you connect with someone that can help you. All right. I'm going to
Amen.
end here. My favorite scripture, y'all know 3 John 2:1. I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And so that covers it all: your body, your money, your mind, your spirit, your emotional health. And so all of this ties in to help us live the John 10:10 life. I've come that you might have life and life more abundantly. I love you all. Grace and peace.
Wow.
Thank you so much for joining in. Have a great night, everyone. God bless you.
Good night. Bless you.
Good night.